Hello everyone, and in this video I will be showing you how to recreate this Pokedex UI prototype in Figma. Okay, so just a sneak preview of the final product. You should be able to scroll on the main page. You can click on Bulbasaur and it should go to the Bulbasaur's Pokedex entry, and you can click over here to navigate to Ivysaur, or you can just drag and swipe between the two Pokemons. So this will be the only kind of functionality. There's no entry for Venusaur. You can also click on this icon at the top to go back to the front page, but you observe that none of the other Pokemons you can actually view the entry. Only Bulbasaur and Ivysaur. So the purpose of this exercise is to get you familiarized with the transition and animation features in Figma. Actually, I would hope that you guys can look at this demo or at least this prototype over here and kind of try to figure it out yourself rather than really follow through this video step by step. Try to use this video more as a like if you encounter a roadblock and then you refer back to this video. I will encourage you to try and experiment on your own, see if you can actually recreate this without the help of this video. But with that said, out of the way, let's just get started. Okay, so I will just create a new design file, and I will create a new frame using the iPhone 16 Pro Max template. Okay, so I have a frame over here, and let me just go ahead and import my JPEG file. So you can actually get this file from Polite. So this is like the final answer, or like the model answer that you are supposed to replicate. Of course, all these elements over here, you don't really need to follow exactly the placement. Later on you will see why, because this screenshot was actually captured quite some years ago when I was creating the Pokedex exercise in Adobe XD. In Figma, and especially since we are using the iPhone 16 Pro Max template and not iPhone 14 Pro Max, which was from XD, you will observe that there is this camera, front camera over here, so it will actually obstruct some of the UI elements if you flush it, like this example over here. So something to take note of. Okay, so let's just proceed to kind of roughly recreate some of these elements over here. So I will use the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle over here, and let me just sample this orange color. Okay, so this will be the header, and then we have the second box over here, roughly this size I guess, and let me just sample this color over here. And we also have the background. So the background, I think, is actually a gradient, so we can just click on this and assign it to be a gradient, and the gradient will be from, let me sample this color to a lighter shade of blue. Okay, let me just sample this. Okay, so I may want to actually drag down this so that the gradient is a bit more obvious, right? Okay, so moving on, I will create all these elements first. Let's start with the logo. So the logo, if you look over here, it is a combination of several shapes. So let me just create this logo somewhere here. Of course, you can kind of create it over if you really want to be very precise with the size, but honestly there's no need to be so precise. It's a exercise. Okay, so let me just duplicate this, and what I can do is a couple of ways I can go about creating this page over here. So I can create another shape like this, right? And I can just duplicate this and maybe set it to white so that I can better see it. Okay, and just make it so that it's the same size. Maybe I shift this around, so okay, something like this is fine. And then let me just create the corner for this. Okay, so I have a shape that looks like this. Select all three of them, and let's do a subtract. Okay, but let's see. Let me move this out, and let me select this too. And I guess I don't need to union this. Okay, so something like that. Maybe to make it even nicer, I can shift this so that it looks like it is a bit more obvious. Yeah, okay, something like that. Alright, then next, let me create the 3 lines over here. Shift it. Maybe make this a bit thinner. Alright, and let me just duplicate this. Okay, Ctrl D, and select these 3 shapes and do a subtract. Okay, so we have the same kind of logo over here. So let's just group all of them together, group selection. Okay, and I can call it logo. Alright, so next I will just type in Pokedex. Okay, so if you can't get this E right, what you can do, let's see, okay, maybe I can just go over here, Pokemon, see if I can get that E. Seems like they only have the small letter E. Let's see. Let's try to copy the small letter E and see if I can. Okay, small letter E. Let me try to find maybe a font that is. See if there's a font that is all in caps. Okay, can't really find this. Can't remember how I capital. Okay, let's see. Yes, this one, right? Is it this one? Yes. Okay, Google saved the day again. Okay, so just copy paste this. Okay, and of course I can do the same font. Another font is fine as well, right? So maybe I just make this a bit smaller and try to align this. Okay, and kind of bring it back to my, let's see, so this should be here. Somehow it's not nested in the same frame. Okay, so let me just adjust this so that it looks okay. Alright, so something like that. Again, you don't have to like be pixel perfect down to the correct font, etc. It's just an exercise. Okay, next one we will do the search bar. So let me create this, sample this color, right? And we can round the corners like so. And then we need to create this magnifying glass. Of course, you can go to a site like flat icon. In this case, let us just create from scratch. So I added a stroke, and let me sample the color and delete the fill so that it is kind of transparent, and just make this stroke width a bit bigger. Next, I can either use a line or rectangle. So in this case, maybe I just use a line, and I will assign the same stroke width, which is 4, right? And the color to be this color. And let me see, yeah, I can move this like that and just nudge it into place. Okay, yeah, the search button is done. And maybe I make this a bit smaller so that I have space for my filter button. Okay, so next will be the filter button. Okay, so let me just create another rectangle, same height as this search bar, and round the corners and sample this light blue. Okay, and then let me create the filter text, and for this, let's just go with a more standard font. Maybe this Lao Sans Pro is fine. So let me reduce the size of this to 20 maybe. Let's move this in. Still looks a bit big, so maybe this doesn't have bold. Let's see what is other good font for this. It's quite a lot of selection. ASAP. Okay, this is bold. Maybe semi-bold is good enough. Okay, nudge it into place, and let's create this filter icon. Okay, so you can use lines, you can use rectangle, either case is fine. Maybe lines is a better. For this, I think it is white, and then let me just copy this, just reduce maybe 50, and duplicate this again, and do like 8 maybe. Okay, something like that. Alright, I guess close enough. So let me just select this bar over here and just group all these elements and just call it search bar. Okay. Okay, collapse this. I don't need to see all this. This one can be logo BG. Alright, so next will be to create this Pokedex entry. Alright, so let me go to my rectangle tool and create something like this. Okay, and then change the fill color to this color. It's this color. And then I will create the number over here. So let's create the white background first. Okay, I think roughly this size. Change the color to white. Okay, so just make sure that this is positioned inside. And round the corners. Right, and type in 001. Okay, and let me just shift this into place, make sure the color is this blue, and maybe we can increase the size of this. Sure it's centralized. Oops. Okay, to this. Yeah, and let me just duplicate this and change the color to white. Alright, and just call it Bulbasaur. Okay. Okay, next, you should go to your Polite Mall and download the Pokedex assets. And after you have unzipped the file, you should see something like this. Okay, so you can just use all these graphics. Okay, so just drag in this Bulbasaur image. It'll be quite big, so let me just resize it. Okay, do something like this. Alright, then I want to clip this within this rectangle. Alright, so just as a recap, just make sure that the image that you want to be clipped should be above the clip shape. Alright, so selecting this shape, and make sure that I guess the rest can be clipped, no issue. So just select this shape and right click and use as mask. Okay, so it will turn everything invisible underneath, right? So what you can do is you can duplicate this and remove mask, so you still have this shape, right? So yep. Okay, so let me just duplicate this one more time, and this time let me just shift it so that it's above everything. Okay, because we need to create this kind of gradient. So click on this, go to gradient, and then first let us reposition this gradient so that it is going up straight. And then let me set this to the same color, but lower the opacity all the way to 0. Right, so you have this kind of a gradient like this. Okay, so if I want to adjust my Bulbasaur, I can still do that. Maybe shrink it down, move it up a bit so I can better see the face. Or maybe this gradient is a bit much, so what I can do is kind of move this down a bit, move this down, something like that. Okay, so we have the first entry. We can go ahead and just group this whole thing together. Group selection, and just call it Bulbasaur. Alright, or if you want to be a bit more precise, we can call it 001 Bulbasaur. Okay, so then let me just duplicate this and shift it. I guess it's fine. This distance is fine. Maybe a bit more compact. 1, 2, 3. So it's 10 pixels apart, maybe. Okay, and then let me just rename this to Ivysaur. Alright, and let me just change the contents inside. Okay, so this is a bit annoying. Okay, so this okay, let me just hide this for now because it's interfering with my my actions over here. Okay, so Ivysaur, and let me just delete this and replace this with Ivysaur over here. Okay, resize this. Okay, and then I just bring it into this mask group over here. Okay, if I really want to be one is to one with this, I try to eyeball and shift it into place, and let me just unhide the gradient. Okay, so I have Ivysaur, and let me just duplicate this. Okay, 10 pixels difference, and let me just go ahead and change this to Venusaur. Okay, maybe I should change my layer group name as well, and let me just go ahead and delete this Ivysaur and add in my Venusaur. Okay, and then just bring it into the mask group and hide this. Maybe I can shift Venusaur up a bit so they can better see his face. Okay, so in lieu of time, okay, so subsequently I will just duplicate this, right, and I will not make the changes. Okay, and let me just duplicate it a few times. So this is supposed to be Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, Squirtle, okay, and so on. Okay, so I'll just in lieu of time, okay, I don't need, I feel that I don't need to show you how to do the rest. It's basically just replacing of information. So I'll just leave it as it is. Okay, of course, if you want to 100% this exercise, right, you want to do the necessary changes. Okay, but let me just kind of for the front page, I will just leave it as it is, like this. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to group the whole thing together, alright, so that later I can use this entire group as a kind of like a scroll bar, right? I'm not planning to create a scroll bar, so let me just group all of this and just call it like Pokedex or something like that. Okay, so maybe I can change this to main menu bracket top. Okay, and then let me just duplicate this and sort of shift the whole thing up like that. Okay, so in this case I do want to make sure that this Pokedex group, right, is below everything. Okay, so this one should also be below everything, and maybe I want to create this gradient as well, which I forgot to do so. So let me just go back to my main, this one, just call it main menu bottom. Okay, so here I want to create another shape and for the fill, let me just I think it's this color, yeah, this color. Okay, and set it to be a linear gradient. Just move it so that it's a vertical gradient, and the other color, it will be this same shade of blue, and just set it to 0%. Okay, so I have something like this. I can make it a bit bigger. Oops. Okay, something like that. I guess this is a good indication that there's something below, right? In fact, I think I can even shift this up. Okay, so shift this up like so. Okay, so I can just call it bottom gradient. Okay, and just move it to this this one, and let me just duplicate and bring it to the other frame as well. Okay, so we have these two frames. So let's just hook it up first. Okay, usually my process is I will finish the whole design before I move on to prototype, right? But in this case, let us just score a quick win, okay, first with linking up these two pages. Alright, so let me jump into prototype mode and select this entire group, Pokedex group. Alright, maybe I shift this further apart so it's a bit clearer. Alright, and just click over here, drag and drop it into this entire frame. Alright, and the interaction should be on drag. Okay, so for animation, I think Smart Animate and Linear is fine. Okay, so we can actually test this out. Okay, so if you do it correctly, you should be able to click and drag and oh, I forgot to do the reverse. Okay, so select on this group on the bottom page. Okay, click and drag and go back to this and set it to be on drag, linear, smart animate, and let me try it out again. Okay, so now you should be able to drag up and down. Alright, so moving on, let's create the entries page. So I will just duplicate from this top and maybe shift it down. Okay, in this case I don't I will delete this connection. So just click, drag and drop it elsewhere. Okay, and let's go back to the design and just call it Bulbasaur, yeah. Okay, so when it goes to the Pokedex entry, this thing should shrink, right? It should shrink, become smaller. So this one should move up as well. So just to be a bit more precise, I will just move it up like so. Maybe this one will also make it smaller. Right, it should be flushing to the side like this. Okay, so this size, right, I can also make it smaller. Okay, something like that. So we want to leave a bit of a grace area for the iPhone front camera, right? And then the search bar is just gone. So let's see, the search bar is here. So let me just fly it out of the screen. Okay, but just make sure that it's still within this frame. And then let's shift some of these items here, right? So all the Venusaur and Ivysaur, you can go down. Okay, just make sure that if you move it down, right, just make sure that it is still in the correct page. Okay, like so. And then this one, we actually want to expand on it. Okay, so this will be expanded. Okay, and then this background will also be expanded. Okay, something like that. And maybe we change this to a gradient. Okay, so our gradient color should be this color, yes. Okay, this color, is that correct? I think so. And then let's see, this bottom gradient, right, we shift it out of place as well. Let's make sure it's still in the same frame. So let's see, why is this rectangle? Why is there oh, okay, so this is because of this particular, no, this one, Alright, so this one we can also shift it out of place. Just make sure that everything is still in the same hierarchy. Okay, so with that done, let me shift this up. Okay, shift the Bulbasaur text up as well. Okay, I can see if I can increase the size. 40 seems good. Okay, something like that. And then let me shift this into place, make it bigger. Okay, something like that. Right. Okay, so next one will be to recreate this type. Okay, so let me just create a rectangle here and just make sure that the left and right, okay, set it to be the same, 18. Okay, so it's like a pill shape on the other side. Okay, and let me just sample the color, this green. We make it smaller. Okay, and let's type in the text first, see if there is a good size for it. 20 seems fine. Okay, I think this is okay, so let me just duplicate it, right, and kind of flip it. That's a better way. I guess to be a bit more precise, we can do it this way. Right, and sample this color, duplicate this. Poison. Okay, I think the font size maybe can be a bit smaller. Set it to 60. Yeah. Centralize this a bit. Okay, so I think this is fine. Shift it around. Okay, and let's do some typing. So height, roughly over here, duplicate this thing, weight. Okay, and then select these two things, duplicate this, and just copy and paste. All this information, right? If you want to copy paste, especially this Pokedex entry, right? Okay, just go to Bulbapedia, the #1 resource for anything Pokemon, and let us search for Bulbasaur, and all the information is right here. So I can just copy and paste the height information, right? And go over here. Weight is somewhere here. Okay. Double click. Okay. If we want, we can thin the font a bit. So just use the regular. Yeah. Okay. Then let's draw a line across, like so. Okay. And I can duplicate this line as well. Okay, then let us just go and scroll down, copy the entry from red and blue. Okay. Okay, and just draw a text box like so, and just paste that information in here. Okay, if you want, we can enter this so that it looks a bit better. Yeah. we shift this up a bit. Okay. Alright, so next, I think this Bulbasaur looks a tad bit big. So let me just shrink it down a bit and shift everything else from here to here, everything else up. Okay, and let me just duplicate this base stats. Bring it to the middle of the page. Okay, and let me just quickly create all these stats. So there are 6 stats in total plus the total bar. So let me just go ahead and create that. Corner it. Maybe I don't need it to exactly be a pill shape, just a rounded rectangle is good enough, something like this. And then let me sample the color. Should be this. Is it this blue? It's a darker, I think darker variant of the blue. Okay, and let me just quickly duplicate it. Seven. Okay, so 7 times. So let's see if there's enough space for. I think there should be enough space, or maybe we need to shift everything up again. So shift. Okay, maybe even the Bulbasaur image can shift up also. Okay, so there's a bit more room at the bottom to kind of add in the silhouettes of the character. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay. Alright, then let me just duplicate this. Move over here. Okay, and type all this information. Yeah, this one might be better with a semi-bow. Okay, and duplicate this. Tag. Okay, I think this one might need to go with a smaller size. 14, I think it's fine. Okay, duplicate this. Okay, and just duplicate it a few times. Defense. What's this? Special attack. This is special defense. The last one is speed. Okay, then of course we have our total. Okay, then let me just duplicate this over here and just make sure that it is right aligned this time, because we want the text or the numbers to be all right aligned. Okay, so 45, duplicate this. 49. Okay, duplicate. Oops. Okay, just hit duplicate a few times. This is 65. Okay, 65. Sorry, this should be 49 as well. Okay, 65, 45, and 318. Okay, so all this information, once again, it's from Bulbapedia. I didn't actually come up with all this information myself. Okay, so going back to this, let me just shift some stuff around. Nudge it more to the left. This one, nudge it more to the right. So in case in future, if we have 100 over defense, it will not spill over. Maybe I nudge it even more. Okay, I mean, these are some of the considerations you may need to consider if you are actually building this as a real app. Yeah. Okay, so let me just duplicate this. Duplicate. Okay, so I guess this one, the last one, you don't need to. So let me just duplicate this and string it down and sample this color. Okay, and duplicate this. Make sure this is at the top and just pump it up a bit. Okay, duplicate this. Oops. Extend this a bit. Alright, and then duplicate this. Duplicate this. Okay, and just make sure that everything is aligned. Okay, so we have the stats bar ready. Alright, last bit is to have this silhouette. Oh, I forgot to add in this back bar. But in this case, I think we can omit the back bar. You can add it if you want. I think the general process is the same. Alright, actually in my this example, I also did not add in the back bar, but the icon serves as a back button. Okay, but if you want to add in this back bar, you can go ahead. Okay, so let me just drag in this icons, the silhouette icons over here. Okay, so because I want it to change from white to black, okay, so what I can do is I can first do all the black ones first. So let me just drag in and pop those in and resize them. Make sure that they are all inside here. Okay, might need to be even smaller. Okay, so let's arrange them accordingly. Okay, I might need to just resize this a bit so that they kind of match the scale of this Venusaur. Maybe this can even go a bit smaller. So yeah, something like this. Maybe make it even smaller. Yeah. Okay. Next, let me create this by using the polygon tool. Okay, holding down a shift so that it is equilateral triangle, right? I think that's the correct term for it. And round out this triangle, make it slightly smaller, put it over here, and sample this color, this light blue. Okay, and yeah, we need to add in the text, so just duplicate over here. Put in 16. So for those who don't play the game, it's actually the level at which Bulbasaur will evolve to Ivysaur. Okay, and I can make it slightly smaller, maybe bold it because it's so small. 13, make it fine. Okay, and select these two shapes and just duplicate it. So it's 32. Okay, let me just nudge the Venusaur a bit so that it doesn't get covered. Hold on, let's see. Okay, let me just space them out a little bit so that they don't feel so congested. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. So let's just do some housekeeping and just make sure that that this we group everything nicely together. So we can call it bottom buttons. Okay, and then all this information here all the way here. Okay, let's shift things around. Okay, yeah, we can group them, right, and just call it Pokedex entry or something like that. Okay, right, so once again, usually my process is that I will do everything, then I do the linking. Okay, but just we are at the 46-minute mark of this recording, so for a quick win, let me just link it. Okay, and see our progress so far. So make sure you go into this Pokedex group and select on the Bulbasaur group, right? And so specifically clicking this button will link us to this page. Okay, and on tab, yes, and for the animation, let's do smart animate, and let's do ease in and out. Yeah, let's try ease in and out. Okay, so we can click on this and just preview it. Okay, so we can still scroll, click on this, and this will, yeah, but we haven't. Let us close the loop. Okay, so select this button. Should we have grouped them together? I think at this stage we don't need to group them together. Just on tab. Okay, sure. We can also on tab this. Okay, so we just need to link two things. Okay, but maybe on hindsight it would have been better to just group them together. Okay, so I can click on this, I can click on this to go back, right? Okay, this doesn't look as good. Maybe I shift this search bar below the logo BG. So I should do the same for all of them. Logo BG and search bar. So when the transition happens, right, you don't actually see the search bar kind of flying past this, you know. Yeah, now it feels a bit better, right? Feels a bit better. Okay, so next what we want to do is we actually want to add in the Ivysaur so that it transits fine. So okay, for this it's a bit complicated. Let me select this frame first. Okay, go back to design and just uncheck this click content so that we can see everything, even outside the silhouette or the dimensions of the canvas. Okay, so let me actually shift this Ivysaur group, right? And just, sorry, I'm selecting the wrong thing. It's in the Bulbasaur frame, right? And let me select the Ivysaur. Okay, and just shift it here. Okay, and let me change something about this. Okay, maybe the way I should be doing this is a bit different. Let me go back to my Bulbasaur one. Okay, and let me just duplicate this and call it the overall BG. Okay, and it will just kind of spawn in, and what we can do is we can just dial this down to 0%, so it fades out, the background fades out. So similarly for this, right, I guess I don't have to adjust the size, so it will still be this size and it will similarly fade out. I will need to make this size bigger, and I will need to fly this thing away, or I can fade it out as well. Either way will work. Yeah, maybe fading it out is cleaner that way. This one also just fade out. Okay, and then I will need to shift this two things up here so that it is sort of aligned. Okay, so if it doesn't if you don't see this, or it doesn't smart align for you, right, you can drag out a ruler yourself. Okay, something like that. And then let me just go back to this one. Okay, yeah, so it is somewhat aligned like this. And then for Ivysaur, what's the size of this guy? This is 40. Okay. Okay, something like that. And then we can enlarge this thing as well. Okay, so something like that, and all this is still within the Bulbasaur frame, right? And we are seeing this because we unchecked the clip content. Okay, so let me duplicate this. Okay, and in this case, let me shift. Okay, firstly, let me rename this to Ivysaur. Oops, wrong frame. Ivysaur should be here, and then let me expand on this and shift. Actually, let's see. Yeah, I can actually shift this whole thing here. Okay, I don't need to see my ruler anymore. Shift this whole thing here, and I can shift my Ivysaur here. And then let's see. This one should be okay. I think it's fine. And then we need to change some of this information over here, right? Will take some time, so let's just quickly do it. Pokedex entry. Okay, scroll up on this and click on the next one, which is Ivysaur. Alright, so height, copy. Weight. And then Pokedex entry. Okay, and then for the stats, let's just refer to the image. I think it's faster. So this is 60, this is 62, 63, 80, 80, and 60, and total is 405. Okay, so let us bump these values up. Alright, so this one 60, 62, slightly longer, roughly can be the same. This one longer, this one the same, and alright, one thing I forgot to do just now is this white silhouette thingy. Okay, so let's see. Let's import in this white silhouette. Okay, and just shrink it down. Bring it to this, and maybe it might be easier if I select this 57 by 57. Okay, so let's do 57 by 57 and just shift it so that it covers this, and let's just put them together. This is 66 by 65. Okay, 66. Okay, let's put them together. Okay, for this one I will say put it 0%, right? And then this can be larger. Okay, so this is 87 by 87. So 87. Okay. Match up. Okay. But this one we actually set it to 0. 100% I think is fine. Okay. So we have this, right? Currently selected. Going towards here, we can just duplicate this and bring over to Ivysaur. So let me collapse this. Okay, and bring up the bottom buttons and just bring this over to the Ivysaur one and just move it here. Okay, and let me think, where is this? Oh, I think it moved out of the group. Okay, so something like that. And then this one, it should be back to this size, which is 57, I think. Yeah. Okay, but now I want it to be 0%, and for this I want it to be 100% now. Okay, but I want this to be bigger, so maybe 88, something like that. Yeah, and Ivysaur black one also 88 by 88. Okay, so let me just move this to the back. Okay, and let me just space out this information a bit better, right? And then this with the Bulbasaur icons, like this. Alright. Okay, so we have these two pages set up, right? So to make it easier to view, let me click content. Okay, so we have something like this. Why is this still outside? I think it flew out just now, so let me just slot it back in. It should be under Pokedex Ivysaur Bulbasaur over here. Okay, so okay, we have something like that. So let's link from the main menu again. So select this, select the Ivysaur group, go to prototype, link it to this page. Smart animate, easy and out. Okay, I think that's fine. Then we gotta link this back. Okay, so it's already linked. Okay, that's convenient because we duplicated this, right? So it's already linked. That's great. And let's see. Okay, this one we want the Ivysaur black to link to this. Okay, on tab, yes. Then we want this Bulbasaur, I guess white or black doesn't matter, link to this. Smart animate, okay, yeah. And then we want this this one, right? Click and drag on drag, yeah. Okay, and just do a linear, and then this one, select the Ivysaur. No, this is not the right one. Ivysaur. Here. Ivysaur. Drag. On drag. Linear. Yeah. Okay, so that is the linking, right? I hope it all makes sense. I didn't really explain why you know, I did certain things, but I think it's quite straightforward. So let's hit the play button and test this out. Okay, so front page, main menu, you can drag up and down. You can click on Bulbasaur, which will bring up Bulbasaur. You can, from here, you can jump to Ivysaur if you want to, right? And you can see that the stats kind of change. The Pokedex entry changes as well, right? Okay, and you can also do this transition using drag. So you can click and drag and you know, show this. All right. Okay, and then at any time you can always go back to the main menu. Go to Ivysaur, go back to the main menu, go to Bulbasaur, go back to the main menu. Okay, so there's no kind of dead ends in that sense, right? Okay, so yeah, I hope this demo shed some light on how to implement the transition and animation features in Figma to apply it on a user interface such as this Pokedex. Okay, and I hope that you have fun recreating this. Of course, this is not the complete version. If you have the time, you should try to replace this correctly with all these individual Pokemon, which I have actually provided the graphics for. And if you want to really 100%, you can actually create this back button. Alright, but I think there's no need to, because the Pokedex logo itself will actually lead back to the main menu. Okay, so if you have any questions pertaining to this exercise or your assignment, feel free to reach out to us. If not, I'll see you guys in class.